answer that, Michael?
Well, I'm just going to say, in terms of how efficient it is, I don't throw too many numbers at you, but the Southbay Power Plant creates, a megawatt of electricity based on a 1,400 BTU rate. That means it has to burn 1,400 BTUs to generate a unit of energy. The new power plant in Otay Mesa does it for about 960 BTUs. So it's more than a third more efficient, or is that a third or a fourth? Yeah. So it's quite a bit more efficient. So even though it's running more in terms of displacing power somewhere in the grid.
I'm thinking about pollution.
Yes. The other thing is the location. It's farther out east, and the prevailing winds here are north and east, so it's going to blow out over the open area where there are little or no residents, as opposed to South Bay, which is immediately west and blows over the entire city of Chula Vista.
I think, to more directly answer your question, no, we haven't done that analysis, but it almost doesn't matter because Otay Mesa has its permit, is under construction, it has a contract, it's getting built.
It's testing.
So I think the question for us is, do we want to end up with 2 power plants or just that one? Or what are we going to end up with? Because Otay Mesa will come online. So, okay, question there and then Mitch.
Are you including Imperial Beach and Coronado to be helpful to councils and so forth, because we are a neighboring water?
We're going to go talk, yeah, we're going to go talk.
That would be efficient, and I'm sure that Coronado is already previous to cleaned up and been cleaning up and doing what we're trying to do, which is maintain a healthy environment.
Coronado, we have not approached yet. I know Patricia McCoy is very strongly in support of this from Imperial Beach. And I've talked with the mayor of IB, and he's interested in solar projects, but we haven't really gone to them as a council directly about this. I do think it's very, very important that the South Bay stand together.
Oh, totally, and independently, but we're a neighboring water. You don't divide the water is
Right,
affected.
no,
Same
agreed.
watershed.
We're talking about with all the, the cooling and the migration and so forth, so that everything is dominoed. So I would think that the numbers and having additional city council, mayors,
Yes,
et cetera,
we'll be doing
their concerns grouping together with us would be a power play that's supported in numbers.
No, we're going to do that. We started with, our local congressman, then our local senator, she's on board. Our 2 assembly people are on board. Our Chula Vista City Council, three of the 4 now are on board, and I think they'll all, hopefully, we're going to have that in front of them soon to all be on board. We're starting with IB, and we'll go to National City probably next.
Especially with the old adage of not in my backyard, they would say, oh no, we don't want, water's coming up further, so they would be that much more supportive to the South Bay for what our gains and our goals are. Now, second question, the plant that's being built now, is it less obtrusive because there's less BTUs needed in order to create the same amount of unit energy? Is it less obtrusive so that eventually everything gets populated? So, what's it look like, or to look like?
It'll look like a big power plant. I mean, they built one of these kind of like it up in Escondido, and it's a big industrial looking power plant, but it's not right next to like Harborside Elementary School. I mean, it's way out kind of in the boondocks. I don't think, well, hopefully there's not residential development or other development planned around it. I mean, it was picked pretty carefully.
But they didn't do any screening.
But it's way out there, and it's going to look ugly. It's going to look like a power plant because they're not beautiful.
Sure, but we're just wondering if sometimes you can drop down and still have the air cooling because you're in a
It's pretty much
It's
built.
at a relatively high spot, yeah. If you look to the east.
Near the
yeah.
prisons.
Especially if you're building, try to keep ugly out, bring pretty in.
Yeah.
or
Prisoners are
especially
happy.
Lands.
No, it's gonna look bad, but they do.
Okay.
Mitch.
You said you're going to bring something. Is the Chula Vista City Council going to be, as a body, considering
Yes.
a stance on this?
Yeah, there's several things that are going to be coming, we hope, to the City Council that have been to the Energy Subcommittee already. One is a full council position on this issue of the water permit. There's also, we hope for a full council position on whether or not we think the current operators are in compliance with they're kind of technocrat things that we can go on later, but the status of the lease. And then third, we want to weigh in with who's called the independent systems operator. I'm only looking at this side. I should look at this side too. Sorry. The independent systems operator is a group, a state agency that issues those RMR contracts, and they're the ones that control the energy on the grid. So we want to weigh in with them as a community, saying, "Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Independent Systems Operator, we don't want you to issue this contract either." So we're hoping the full council take a position on that.
And with respect to the Regional Water Quality Control Board, could you go into a little more detail about when it'll happen and the series of events that you think are important for people to weigh in anticipation of that happening?
Okay.
And who they are exactly?
Okay, so the Regional Water Quality Control Board, I'm just going to call them the Regional Board, is the local state environmental agency that implements the Clean Water Act for us. Everyone heard of the Clean Water Act? It's basically the federal law that says we don't want our rivers catching on fire anymore. It's kind of a simple goal. We're trying to reduce the pollution. So in California, they said, okay, California, you have a really good water quality program. We're going to hand our authority down to you. And the state handed that authority down to these regional boards. So all these Clean Water Act permits have to get processed by these local regional boards. Those regional board members are all appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate, the state Senate. They are in receipt now of an application from the power plant operators for another 5-year permit. They want a 5-year renewal. The staff, the regional board staff, is debating what they should do now. So the first time we need to weigh in with the staff is right now, saying, you know what, here's what we want you to do, not move forward with the permit at all, and here's the reasons we want you to make, and here's everybody who doesn't want another 5-year permit. Then the staff will either say that to the regional board, we don't think we should issue this new permit, or they will draft the permit that they think the board should adopt, and they will forward that to their own regional board. There will be a hearing. We'll all be showing up, saying what we think about that. The regional board will vote. And if nobody appeals that decision, then that is the reality for the next 5 years, whatever they decide. If someone appeals their decision and it goes to the state board, then you got about a year to argue up there. And then if you don't like that, then and only then can you sue over the Clean Water Act challenges. But we're in very early, which is good. We're letting everybody know exactly what we think and what our arguments are very, very early on, so we think we have a good chance. Does that help?
I just wanted to say that we have scheduled this item to be discussed by the Energy Subcommittee for a recommendation. We've scheduled the item for the Energy Subcommittee for a recommendation to the full council on the once through cooling NPDES permit. And prior to that, we also hope to have another blue ribbon subcommittee. The people that you saw sign the letter are part of a subcommittee that worked, that the council directed staff to work on this issue, do some research, and develop a subcommittee. So they've obviously taken a position as a blue ribbon subcommittee. The energy subcommittee we expect will support that, take it to the full council. But as Laura pointed out, 3 of the 4 council members have already signed it. So that should happen on August 3rd, and then the next council